Hello everyone, my name is Jen and welcome to the Book Refuge and welcome to my reading vlog for the Romance Takeover Readathon Light versus Dark, and welcome to the dark side. I'm doing one of those TikTok things and holding my microphone because I didn't want to clip it up against my neck, and today is I know I'm filming vlog, but it's a non-filming day. My allergies have still been horrible. I'm not sick, done the COVID test, whatever. It's just, it's drainage from allergies. So it's a non-makeup day. Just gonna be reading smutty books, but I wanted to get the vlog started. And also welcome you to this and say thank you to everyone who's participating. The Romance Takeover Readathon this is its third or fourth round I'm doing. I honestly don't remember now. And it's smushed now with the Light versus Dark Romance Readathon, which was started in 2020, and we did it to celebrate like Star Wars Day, to have it be like Light versus Dark, and it was really fun. It was one of the first readathons that I did with Romance Crew, and it was wonderful. But I wanted to kind of bring it back, but also mix it with Romance Takeover, because yeah. So anyway, you probably already know that if you're watching this, but maybe you don't. So I'm real quick gonna tell you what my TBR is, and then tell you which book I already started and what the plans are for the day. We'll try not to make the opening clip 20 minutes long because this vlog is already going to be a lot. So I won't go over all the prompts, whatever. If you want to know that, you can check out the video I did as the announcement. But I have 10 books, but the way that I picked my TBR this time, I picked all books that were viewer recommendations that are in my viewer recommendation form. If you don't know, I have a book rec form. It is always in my description. That is the place that I take recommendations. So, you know, I don't really take them from people who just write them in the comments or send them to me on Instagram. I need them all in one place. So there's just this little Google form that's always down in there, and it's always in my Instagram bio. You can send me a book, and when I'm planning TBRs, when I'm doing readathons, when I'm bored and I can't decide myself what to read, I go into this form and pick a random number and read that book. And for this time, when I was picking my TBR, I looked up the prompts and I was able to Control F and search the prompts, and that's how I did this. So anyway, the 10 books that I have picked, I also tried to pick shorter books because when I was building this TBR, I was still very slumpy. I've had bad reading slump in June and the beginning of July, and so I picked a lot of shorter books that I hope is going to keep me reading fast. And then also there are a couple new releases that are coming that I will probably have arcs for that I'll want to squeeze in, and we'll make those part of the readathon as we go, okay? So there is Claimed by the Orc Prince by Lionel Hart, Always Been You by QB Tyler, as well as First Semester by QB Tyler. Those are both kind of short. And back when QB Tyler lost her husband, which was very, very sad, that happened back in, man, I think it was April or June, I bought a bunch of her books. I already liked her books, so there's those two. They're both like taboo / spicy little things there. Go Deep by Rilsey Adams, Taking What's Mine by Alexa Riley, Charge by Kate C. Wells, Sweetest Sin by Sosie Frost. That was sent to me by a viewer. Very excited. Devil's Pawn by Natasha Knight, and The Dom Who Loves Me by Lexi Blake. Oh, and The Danger You Know by Lily White. So those are the 10 books I have on my TBR. Last night, after the Sarah J. Maas along ended, I was ready to start my first book for this. So I did. I started Claimed by the Orc Prince. This one is going to fill the prompts for arranged marriage, fantasy, and LGBTQ+, because this is a gay arranged marriage between a elf and an orc, and I'm already like 60% through, so that's going to be the first book that I finished this morning here, and I'm very excited about it. It's going well. It's going well. Tegan is the elf prince, and he had a lover currently. He's the son of 2 elves, and the way that it works in this is it's not officially called like an Omegaverse or anything, but I think if you've read any Omegaverse, some of those things will seem similar to you, because the elves are, what's it called? When you can, anyway, the way they've evolved over time is that either either men or women can have children, and the men, they do have lubricating holes so that they're made for it. So anyway, when an alliance needs to be formed between the orcs and the elves, Tegan is the only son of the elf king, so he gets offered, and then I don't know how to pronounce his name. I think it's like Zurich or Zolik. He's the orc, and he's considered a runt of his people, but he's also very intelligent and like well-adapting orc. So he's the third son, or the third child of the orc leader, and so they have an arranged marriage, and they're working through it. This is a trilogy. I'm only going to be reading the first one for the readathon, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to keep reading it. I mean, this is only novella length. It's only 160 pages, so like I said, I'm almost done with it, and depending on what kind of cliffhanger this one has or where it's at, I will continue. Also, this has like size difference, which I'm a sucker for, and lots of liquids, the way that some other orc books do as well, but not quite as uncomfortable as like the orc and the maiden or whatever that series was. It's not quite as much as that. So yeah, so anyway, I'm enjoying that. That's gonna be my first book. Some other things on the agenda right now. It's only 8:30 already, so that's great. I'm gonna make some breakfast. I do have a couple places I want to go today, and I need to do some baking, because tomorrow I am participating in a meal train for my friends who just had a baby, and so it's a great way, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this, but it's a great way for people to get to meet the new baby without the parents being like bombarded with people right away. So you sign up to bring a meal, and then you can, you know, visit and hold the baby while they eat the meal you bring them and all that jazz. So, but these friends of mine, they love my cookies. So I'm also going to make them a batch of cookies, and I haven't made cookies in forever. So I'm excited to do that. Also because it's the coolest day it's going to be this week, and I'm actually going to use my oven. I usually use my air fryer for everything, and I have an air fryer oven, so I know I could use those to bake the cookies, but my cookie recipe, you know, as most people who have like a cookie recipe, you know how your oven works for your cookies. So I'm going to be baking in my oven today, but it's gonna get really hot this week. So anyway, that's enough for this first clip. I'll check back in after I've read a few or such like that, and yeah, it's gonna be a good time. It's gonna be a good time. Yay, I'm so excited for a readathon. I'll chat with you later. All right, hey, I'm checking back in here. So it's the next day, and a lot has happened. First off, I'm losing my voice. And I don't know how. I'm not sick. I have pretty, like, my allergies have been fluctuating a ton, but I honestly think it's because I've been talking a lot the last couple of days. So I didn't film like any more clips yesterday because I wanted to let my throat rest a little bit. So because I talked for over 3 hours, like before the live show, during and after, for the SJM along. Sorry, my mic is being weird. And then, we'll just put it straight down today. Sorry, we'll just put it straight down today. And then last night we had the first reading sprints of the live show on Rachel's channel, and we did those for 3 hours. Now, granted, we did sprints during it, but we talked beforehand, all the in-betweens, and then afterwards us girls talked for even longer. So literally this morning I was messaging a friend and I could barely talk. So it's coming back. So I made some tea. It's a blend. I don't even know what's in this blend, but I got it in a book box at one point. And like, I hardly ever make tea. I'm not a tea girl. I'll do chai tea, but that's usually kind of my limit, right? But it's working today. Hold on. I just got to fix that. Okay. So I'm going to give you an update, and then we're going to talk about this gorgeous bag in the room. I was going to say elephant in the room, but we're going to talk about this because while Teddy Blake is not a sponsor, they did send me this amazing bag to share with you guys, and also a coupon code to pass on. And in return, they just asked that I, chat about my feelings about the bag. And I got it about a week ago, and I do have some feelings. And then I have a little clip that I will insert while I talk about like what I put in it and everything. Anyway, sorry, that was like a setup, but let me tell you what I've read so far, because I did finish 4 things yesterday. Now, cool, yay, I did. They haven't been all that great so far. These are books, as I've said, that like I didn't like personally pick for me. I picked them out of recommendations based solely off of like what the tropes were. So, I'm not blaming on any person, but they're just, so far, things haven't jived well for me. So the 4 things that I've read so far is I read Claimed by the Orc Prince, which I know yesterday it said I read. That ended up being a 3.5 star for me. It was just okay. I've read better. It's all right. But that one covered the fantasy, the gay, and the arranged marriage prompt for me. So that's cool. Then I read Taking What's Mine, which actually is what I've rated the highest, even though like it's literally like a 40-page, novelette almost from Alexa Riley. That was a CNC situation. So I did use that one for the captor-captive prompt, even though it's not really, because it's a setup situation. I choose to do it that way because I can. And that was a 4 star because like it literally does what it's supposed to do. It's a husband and wife that are doing a rape fantasy scenario, and like you don't know it's a scenario until the end, but because Alexa Riley does that in like all of them, I knew that it was a setup. So it still gets your blood pumping though. There's some primal and like breeding stuff because like they're trying for another baby, but they do the scenario like a rape fantasy. So like he kidnapped her. Like anyway, it was hot. Then I read First Semester because I think I said this, I purchased a bunch of QB Tyler's books, and this is, I believe, one of her first. And I did not love this at all. We're not going to dwell on it. But yeah, I gave this one like 2.5 stars. And I feel like I was being generous. But she has a one-night stand with this guy, finds out it's her teacher. But like the way the one-night stand happens and the way that he reacts when he finds out she's a student, it was just like a bit much for me. So we did that. And that one worked for the age gap prompt. And then I did The Dom Who Loved Me, and this one started out very promising. This is Alexi Blake. This is the first book in her Masters and Mercenary series. And this one is an older woman. She's 40, he's 32. And he works for this company that is looking into her boss. And the thing is she's been her boss's assistant for quite a while, and her name is kind of like on a lot of the things that he's had her do, which, I mean, I don't quite understand, and it is kind of a hint in the story because like I was someone's assistant and everything was in his name. I was just doing it for him, but there was never anything in my name. Granted, I was someone's assistant for 6 months before I was let go for no reason, but we're here now, so it's okay. So, you know, I'm sure that's part of it too, is if you're switching through assistants a lot, you wouldn't put stuff in their name, you know? And I was enjoying it. But then when we get to the point of the story, like, and there's, you know, dom and sub stuff happening. She's never tried being a sub before. She's only read it in books, but she really takes to it like a bird to water. That's what or a duck to water. That's what we're supposed to believe. But then it just, once they start confronting her about all this stuff that they've seen her doing, she's like, I literally don't know. I just do what my boss tells me, and they don't believe her. Then he goes from like they were playing around being dom and sub to, he said he's never wanted a 24/7 dynamic. He doesn't want to be someone's master. He decides he wants to be her master. She just goes along with it, calls him master, gives him that honorific. Even after he's like broken her trust, lied to her, he gets her panties wet and she just gives in. And I don't believe that this smart 40-year-old woman would just like flip so easily for him. And I got really pissed off. And so this book that was doing really great, I ended up giving it a 3. And in fact, I feel like it's even less, but like I did love the first half. And I already had people saying, oh, but keep going. And I'm like, this is the 3rd Lexi Blake I've read, and I haven't liked any of them. So 3 strikes, you're out. I'm not that interested in continuing. I don't like the way that they do BDSM in these, and I just don't want to. I don't want to. This is the 3rd one I've read, and they've all been 3 stars. And I haven't liked how they do that, because it's literally, they're called masters and mercenaries. Like each scenario, the guys are lying to the women that they're getting to submit to them, when BDSM is all about trust. And then when it comes out, he's like, well, I'm her dom. She's gonna listen to me and she'll forgive me. And I'm like, that's abusive relationship. That is misinterpreting BDSM, and I don't fucking care for it. Okay? No. I don't. If you're not really going to be BDSM, like it's going to be like a like force thing, fine. But this doesn't start that way. It starts as consensual, so you have to stay with consensual. And when you're lying, it's no longer consensual. So that got me all fired up, right? The next things I think I want to read, I'm going to read Go Deep, because it's just a short book. And I kind of have to take a break from my TBR for this for a little bit, because Jess Wisecup, the author of Between Wrath and Mercy, her book comes out this month, and I'm on the ARC team. And sorry, my throat, man. And she told us we're going to be getting the ARCs on the 8th, so next Monday. And I'm currently just started rereading Wrath and Mercy before the readathon, because one of my patrons wants an annotated copy. And I need to finish that reread before I get the ARC, because there's just too much I don't remember. So I'm hosting the reading sprints today, and I think I'm actually going to read Between Wrath and Mercy for the sprints to try to get done with it. So anyway, now we're going to talk about Teddy Blake for a little bit, okay? So in a little bit here, I'll put in the clip of me packing my bag for the day. So what I did yesterday is I had to run some errands, and I also went to a coffee shop to read for a little bit. And I filmed a clip of me packing my bag to kind of show you how much it could hold and everything. So Teddy Blake reached out to me just a couple weeks ago and asked if I wanted to pick a bag from their online, from their website, and show it on my channel. So I have it kind of sitting behind me. This is the beautiful, I have it written down, sorry. This is the Vanessa Palmaletto, and I got the 14-inch. There's actually like 3 different sizes of this bag. But as you'll see, like I picked this one because I wanted one that I could use for my laptop if I want, because this does like extend to bigger, and it has the middle pocket. And I like the middle pocket and the snap here. Also, the strap comes off of it, which you'll see. So I picked the big one so that I could use it for more, because if I'm going to be taking this with me to places, I need to be able to fit all of that. So they have a few things they wanted me to tell you about it, and then you can go ahead and check out. I have my discount code will be listed down below. It's TBR30, and you'll get $30 off of any of the regular priced items on there. Now, when you go to their site, and I will share this, it will show items as all being like discounted, but that's them showing you like, this is what this bag is worth, and this is what we're selling it for. You should be able to use my code on those ones that are like that. So These are all premium Italian leather. So it has the luxury and the smell of real leather, and they're made from the finest pellet trees, dyed and treated to withstand the test of time and maintain a luxurious look. And I have to say that like the smell was one of the first things that I noticed when I opened the bag. I was like, wow, this smells like leather. And as that smell, we were kind of just like get intoxicated by it. And it feels so like it doesn't feel like uber soft, because this does have structure, and like this one has a really thick base to it too, but it does inside have that like buttery feel. And I've worn it with both the strap and carried it, and it does like kind of form to your body a little bit, and I'm sure that will happen more over time as well. So they work with the same Italian factories as other luxurious brands, and so it has the knowledge gathered from decades of experience in luxury leather, and so each bag is a work of art, of course. And then these are true made in Italy, so they respect the label's history, and they make sure each bag is characterized by high quality construction, attention to detail, shape and durability, and using the same exquisite materials as all luxury brands, and they never compromise on their quality. And then Teddy Blake is made to be luxurious for you. These are going to offer all the key characteristics of high-end and luxury like leather houses, but they're not for the same cost. I will still say, and I mean, I told them this, like obviously this type of handbag is above what my price range for a bag would be, but I consider pretty much any price for a bag a lot, because I would rather spend it on books. However, I know that not all my viewers are like me, and that's kind of what I shared with them, is I was like, well, some of my viewers will probably want beautiful bags, where I would be more likely to see the price tag for a bag and be like, how many books could I get for that price? And then go buy a cheap bag from Target. But is that cheap bag from Target going to last me the amount of time that this bag will? Probably not. So those are the key points they wanted me to share. They have so many different designs on their site. It took me like 3 hours to decide which one I wanted and to decide on the color. There was also like a deep Merlot and the navy that I was really deciding from, but I just love pink. I loved this pretty soft pink. I think it just goes with my personality in a way. I don't always do a ton of girly shit. Like, I know I do my makeup and all that, but so does everyone. I don't know. So yeah, so thank you very much to Isabella's, who I worked with, and if you want to check these out, go ahead. There's no pressure. I'm not getting commission off of these. That's not what it is, but they sent me the bag and I said I will talk about it. So thank you. It may show up in some Instagram photos that I will take soon, but otherwise you're free to check out their site. Use my code if you want. Tell them Jen sent you. If not, totally fine. We've done it. It was worth it. Here we go. So, like I said, next I think I'm going to read Go Deep. And then that one should only take me it'll probably only take me like an hour. It's only 140 pages. And then I will go ahead and go back into Between Wrath and Mercy and hopefully get that annotated between I'm not going to try to get the whole thing done before I move on to anything else, but I think I'm going to use the reading sprints I'm joining to get through that, so that when I'm finished with the readathon, I'll get between hope and despair and be able to read it. So anyway, thank you so much for this. I'm going to get into reading and we'll hop back in later with another clip. Okay, I don't have a lot of energy right now, y'all. It's 12:30, the beginning of day 3, I guess, but at the end of day 2, okay? I finished 2 more books today, okay, I did. Neither of which went super well for me, okay? Neither one did. I read Go Deep by Rosie Adams. Excuse me. And I gave it 4 stars because that book was a novella, friends to lovers, erotic, a writer who needs some help from her hunky best friend to help her get her spicy groove back. Great. it was fun. So that got 4 stars because it did what it was supposed to do. It didn't emotionally grip me the way that I feel like a lot of people said that book did. Didn't really do that. But cool. Then I read Devil's Pawn. And I don't like to get too cruel about books that are viewer recommendations, okay? That's why it's always a risk when you pick your entire TBR based on viewer recommendations, okay? It is. Because it starts to make you get I'm speaking of myself. It starts to make me get sassier and sassier with each one because I have this existential crisis. Do my people know me at all? Because, and I believe I've shared this before, maybe not recently, but when you like dark and crazy and intense books, you don't mind kinky things or taboos, people tend to think that you're just willing to try them all, and for the most part I am, right? I am willing to try them all. But when they're missing that vital piece of a romance in them, because I gotta tell you, even the darkest books that I love have this deep, soulful connection and this piece of romance that goes through. Even Does It Hurt, which that hero and heroine seem to hate each other for a lot of the book, but there's this rope connecting them inside that while they're hating each other, we as the watchers, observers of this are like, but you don't hate this person. And you can tell that by the thoughts in their head, or yes, he's fucking her brains out, but then he immediately is like, oh my God, but are you okay? Was I too, whatever, or he's being very degrading in speech because the heroine likes it. And then is actually like, she's so beautiful and is so brave, they're thinking those things, right? This book, which I don't even want to do the explanation of it, I'll do it in a weekly wrap up, but this hero, let's just call him the male main character, right? This is a revenge setup. It's more of a secret society than a mafia. I thought I was reading a mafia. It's more of a secret society, but I put it as mafia on my board because I don't have any other mafias on my TBR for this. This is the one that someone said was mafia. And I don't know, they weren't really set up as any mafia that I've seen, which is fair, fine. But he has this plan, get her to force her to marry him, force her to have his child, and then he becomes, he gets to inherit her family's money then because she belongs to him if she's his husband, and then if she has an heir before her brother does, then she inherits, but it would go to her husband, right? So that's his whole plan to get revenge on her family. And he brings her into his house as, she has no say. She gets no say, of course. Forced into marriage. And on their, when they get married, the tradition of this society is that the woman gets marked permanently. So, she can never have another mate, right? And the husbands get to choose whether they get a brand or they get a tattoo. And they get to choose the tattoo. And because the hero's mother was branded, he doesn't want to do that to her. So, okay, we're supposed to feel better. So what does he do instead? He puts her in a pillory, which if you don't know what a pillory is, you've seen it in The Hunchback of Notre Dame. The guy who keeps getting in trouble for begging. His hands and neck are put into this contraption, right? And so she gets put into this pillory and tattooed. He tattoos her entire back. Do you know how fucking long that would take? Do you know? Okay? My, little tattoo, right? I have a few. They're all small. My biggest tattoo that I have is my Lumos tattoo, which, let me see if I can show you. It's on the hand that's holding this. This tattoo took an hour, all right? And it's small. Okay, it's small. That took an hour. Do you know how long on this girl's wedding day that it took for him to tattoo 2 fucking dragons on her back? Okay? And then he's also supposed to bloody the sheets. So then they get taken back home. And, I mean, thank God he doesn't lay her on her back to fuck her, but he fucks her on her knees, bloodies the sheets, and now we're married. And I was like, wow, okay. So something that can happen in a dark romance that starts to change how you feel about them, right? The hero goes too far, which in my opinion, this is too far, okay? I knew it was going to be a forced marriage. So I'm waiting for the point that the author takes the hero from his dark plans, which is going too far to get his revenge, to the point where he starts to be like, I've gone too far and I don't want to keep pushing this, you know? And so even though he did the thing, he should feel guilty or give aftercare or now start doing nicer things for her. But no, there's more. There's more, because what does he need? He needs to marry her and he needs an heir. Okay. She thinks she's still taking her birth control. What did he do? He switched out her birth control. Okay. Okay. So now this is also a breeding kink book then, because now we know every time that he's filling her, he's trying to get her pregnant because he needs that. And the cliffhanger of this book, which we'll ignore a whole bunch of other stuff, punishments he does to her for no reason, his sweet, precious little daughter, like the daughter is adorable. The daughter and this woman's interactions, they were nice. They're the reasons this book got 2 stars instead of 1, I'll be honest. And he does a lot of other things, including fucking her over a tombstone, buying another pillory so that he can punish her in it whenever she's bad. She's started getting sick, so he thinks maybe he's gotten her pregnant. She gets a phone call from her cousin who has been warning her this whole time, make sure you're taking your birth control because like he needs you to have it. And she's like, I'm taking it. I got 3 months worth. Like, I'll be good for now. And her cousin finds her birth control, which apparently when he swapped it out, he literally just swapped it out and just left the other stuff sitting there. I don't know. Because the very last line before you need to switch to the part 2 of the duet is that she realized her birth control is fake and she's pregnant and he impregnated her against his will. And that's been his whole plan. So that's literally what, like, that's the plot. That's the dirty secret, is that he impregnated her, which is a horrible secret. Like, I mean, it's awful. It is. It's a forced pregnancy, absolutely. But that the author actually made that that's the main betrayal. And up until 90%, he's calling her an invader in his home. And he doesn't like her being too close with his daughter because he sees her as a viper in his home. Up to 90%. So, like, and I know I just went on a huge rant about this, but for me, what makes a dark, painful romance with a hero who could maybe still be doing all of these things that this guy is doing, but every time we're in his POV, we see no softening of him, you know? There's never any softening in his POV. It's only him, like, he's glad he gets to fuck her now. She's being a good girl, doing what he says. But then he sees her being sweet with his daughter, and he gets rageful. So he takes her to the pillory to punish her because she's being too nice to his daughter and is winning his daughter over. So he's got to punish her for that. And she just has the best sex ever with him while he's punishing her for that. And it literally makes me want to throw up because he's fucking disgusting. His inner monologue has stayed hateful the whole time. That's not how you write a good dark hero. Like, he can be obsessed and want revenge, but as soon as he starts to be around the heroine, he has to start softening to her. He may still be trying to follow through with his aims because he wants to get revenge for his family, or he wants this or that. But if his heart isn't starting to soften to her by 80-90% of, granted, I know this is a duet, I know, so it's technically only 50%, but this was a 400-page book, okay? So, like, that's a lot of pages. He hasn't softened to her at all. And yet, in the last chapter of his POV, the very last one, when he thinks she might be pregnant, he's like, oh, what I'm doing is working. He's like, once she finds out, she's going to hate me. So there's this twinge of remorse. And I'm like, no, this is a badly laid out book. I was very offended. I don't even love the heroine that much, because she will be strong at some points. And then as soon as he's got his hands on her pussy, she's melting for him. And I hate when that happens. Like, literally, I hate it so much that when he's got his fingers in her pussy, she's changing her tune about him. Like, no. So I gave it a 2-star. And like I said, it's for the little girl. I gave it 2 stars for the little girl. And I just ranted about this to you guys, because this is a vlog. This is what you're getting. You're getting my review of a Teddy Blake handbag, and then my ranting about pussies and shit at 12:30 at night. But this is why when there's certain authors people recommend to me, and people wonder, you never read this person. I'm like, that's because I get this fucking shit from this author. I've read multiple of her books and I get this every time. So she is going on the Nope now. And there's a few authors on my Nope, okay? And astute viewers know who the Nopes are. And it doesn't matter when the newest book comes out and people are like, oh, this one's better, I promise it's better. It's a Nope. It's a Nope. This can be a 5-star book for someone and they can love that. And that's okay. I'm not shaming anyone for liking it. But the kind of main male character in a dark romance that this guy is fucking trash to me. There's nothing redeemable about him. And no matter how dark the romance is, I still have to see the redeemable parts of him. The thing that make him worthy of love, because that's the point of the romance. They're going to be in love by the end. So if there's no redeeming aspect that makes me want to love him by the end, you've just wasted my time. And there we go. Case closed. We're stopping. We're done. This is day 2 and I have an hour worth of fucking footage. So I don't know what we're going to do about it. But anyway. Alright, I'm going to bed. Tomorrow I will try to read Always Been You. And I'm also going to read an arc of, I know I keep holding this up like there's a picture, but whatever. Book sleeve from Peace Love Books, by the way. I love her book sleeves. I use them for my Kindles and stuff. Anyway, I'm going to read Sweet Like Poison by J. Wolfe. I have an arc of that book. And I think it could fill my bully prompt because I realized I didn't have a book to fill my bully prompt, which was stupid of me. And I'm hoping maybe this one will fill it. Otherwise, if I don't black out the board, I don't care. There's no prize anyway, so it's fine. But okay, I'm done. All right, we're checking in. It is another time where I'm showing up after just being at the dentist. This time I just had to have one little shot though, but it's funny. If you are a patron, you know what I'm talking about. I filmed a vlog when I had some like serious dental work and I literally, my entire top of my mouth was numb. And it was funny. Well, the doctor did smudge a little bit of makeup, but it's okay. But anyway, I just wanted to film a clip real quick. It is Thursday morning and I didn't film a clip yesterday, but that's okay. I'm sitting down with lunch. I made mini pizzas out of English muffin and I have some protein pudding with a little cookie crumbled on top. Someone in my Insta story had asked me what the protein pudding is, and I had just seen these show up on like weight loss TikTok or like, I mean, mostly showed up on like bariatric TikTok, and I'm not a bariatric, but I have lost a significant amount of weight, and one of the things I always struggle with is getting enough protein. I think we can struggle with that in our normal days. So I'm not necessarily telling you that this snack is the healthiest thing for you overall, but it does have a lot of protein in it depending on what you use. So just real quick, because I know we're here for books, but you know what? This is what vlogs are like with me. I'm chaotic. It's a thing. I use the Fairlife milk or the protein shake, either one. But the regular milk, either the chocolate, cookies and cream, strawberry, has about like 26 grams of protein. And there's a protein shake that has literally the same amount of protein as the milk does. Or there's the Fairlife like Elite shake that has like double that. So it just depends on how much protein you need, right? Then I use sugar-free pudding. And so you basically just, if you're just making like one serving of it, you use 2 teaspoons or tablespoons. I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it's 2 tablespoons of the pudding. Or is it? I forgot. I know a packet basically makes 2 of these servings. So whatever it is. And then like a whole Fairlife shake. Like I said, or the milk. And you can, I found it was best mixing it in my like bullet because it made sure that all the lumps got out. But I basically mix it and then put it in a mason jar and put it in the fridge overnight. And I've prepped them like on Sunday. I had prepped enough for the week. So this is literally my last one. And you can mix them however you want. Like there's one recipe I'm going to try today that I'd seen where you use a sugar-free butterscotch and you mix it with a peanut butter protein plus shake. So this one isn't a Fairlife and it's supposed to taste like a Butterfinger. So I'm going to try that. So I don't know. These are, if you look up the Fairlife protein pudding on TikTok or on whatever, it'll come up. But I've been trying a bunch of different mix-ins of them. My favorite so far has been the sugar-free lemon pudding with strawberry Fairlife. It's amazing. I used to actually make like, there's this like ice cream kind of dessert you can make using the pudding too. You use sugar-free Cool Whip with a packet of it and you mix it and then put it in the freezer. And there's a sugar-free cheesecake pudding, but it has literally been sold out in my town. So I haven't been able to make it. Because I wanted to make a sugar-free cheesecake with the cookies and cream milk, but I can't find it. Anyway, enough talking about food and not about books, but I'm going to have lunch. I'm about to do reading sprints on Crystal's channel today. Because again, the dentist, look at my face, whatever. But like I said, yesterday I was taking a bit of a break from the readathon, or so I thought. Because I hadn't been having a lot of luck. As you saw in the last clip, I had a bit of a rage thing and I hadn't been having any successes with my TBR and I was getting a little irritated by it. So I decided to read one of the many arcs that I have. And I ended up choosing Sweet Like Poison by J. Wolfe, which is a new adult forced proximity kind of, it's like a one-night stand and then kind of like, not enemies to lovers, but like disinterested to lovers. I don't know another way to say it. And I changed up my bingo board. I changed it because it's a build your own bingo board and also it's my readathon and I want to enjoy my readathon the way so many of you guys are. So I changed out my historical romance and my bully prompt because I actually didn't have any of the books on my list that were going to hit those prompts anyway because I wasn't going to try to black out the board. Anyway, yada, yada, yada. I ended up reading this arc. This comes out on the 18th of August. And I loved it. I gave this 6 stars. It was absolutely beautiful. I'm not going to ramble too long about it because I wrote a very long review on my Goodreads. You can check that out. Also, I will talk about it more in my weekly wrap up. And also, it's a 6-star book, so I'm going to be talking about it a lot. But basically, J. Wolfe is one of the few authors I trust with new adult anymore. And this is a series that, like, she's actually had 2 trilogies. There was a high school trilogy that actually had a bully romance that does remind me of Untouchable a little bit. As I've said many times, nobody fully reminds me of Carter Mahoney, but Sebastian definitely did. And way back in that book, the beginning of the first trilogy, we meet this woman, this teenager, Elena. And now this last book in the second trilogy, so, 6 books later, we have learned so much about her. She was kind of sort of a mean girl / she was very privileged, or so we thought, and Julia Wolfe has slowly revealed parts of her to us through the series. And so I was so excited to read her book. And her hero, his name is Lachlan, and he actually is the son of a rancher in Wyoming. It's a very wealthy ranch though, right? Like, think Yellowstone, think that. That's what you should think. And he's going to school in California to get his business degree, and then he's gonna go back to Wyoming to, work with his dad there. but he's going to get a business degree first. And so he is not going to be settling down. But he has this like weekend fling with Elena before all their friends come back to school, because they have mutual friends. And there's crazy chemistry between them. And when he's like, okay, we had fun, now we're not going to sleep together anymore because I'm not getting attached. And you can already tell he's getting attached, but they can't stay away from each other. And there's way more to it than that. Obviously, I cried multiple times. Not that it takes a ton to make me cry, but if it makes me cry, that's the first step to being a 6-star read, right? Like, I have steps that it has to get in. And then when I got to about 60%, I was thinking, I was like, if Julia Wolf ends this book the way that I want it to end, the way that I hope it ends, it's going to be a 6-star book. And then even as we went through the third act conflict and we're going through the pain and everything, the book ended even better than I could have hoped. Like, it was excellent. And so I was like, great, 6-star, crisis averted. So the book I'm reading right now is called, I think, The Devil You Know, or The Danger You Know. And this is for my prompt of stalker and assassin. He's an assassin. He assassinates the heroine's father when she's 16. He's a pay to hire. It's not mafia. It's none of that. He's an assassin. He gets paid. And he feels bad about how much grief she's suffering. And he watches her kind of like spiral and just be this no fucks given girl. And he stalks her for the next 7 years. And when she gets married 6 years later, and he's willing to kind of step away now. You know, he has met her at different points during these 6 years. We've seen him interact with her, but she never knows that it's the same person when she sees him, because he's always a little different and it's a different scenario. But she goes on this like 3-month tour of Europe with her new husband, where he doesn't get to see her or have access to her. And when she comes back, she's different. And he doesn't like it, because he's let other, you know, he's watched other men be with her over the years. Sometimes he's stepped in, sometimes he hasn't. But he was willing to let this be her happily ever after, because, like, I can't be with her. I'm a killer. You know, she's this crazy chick that I have watched all these years, but, like, she's not mine. And then he sees that she's not herself, and he's mad. And so he decides to get involved. And, like, yeah. So I'm, like, 65% into this one. I'm listening to the audio. It isn't on any play. So that's the book for it that I'm reading today. But during reading sprints, I'm going to go back to working away at Between Wrath and Mercy, because Jess Weisskopf gave us the arcs of those. I have the arc of The Do-Over by T.L. Swan. I have a Kennedy Ryan arc. I have other arcs coming this week. So it's like, I'm going to keep pushing. But I'm almost at Blackout, actually. Like, I'm going to read this one, and then I have 2 others that I, like, would have to read to black out the board, and then I'm, like, done. So we'll see if I can finish those between like today and tomorrow, and then I will probably dive into some arcs, because my cup runneth over with good books, and I can't keep reading these ones that are making me pull my hair out. But this one, I don't think that this stalker assassin is going to be a 5-star book, but I'm intrigued by it. We're gonna see how it ends. But like, this book does have cheating in it, and I literally couldn't give 2 fucks about that. Like, I'm like, yeah, this one needed to have cheating in it. Like, that's how it was going to work. And I'm not mad about it. So that's kind of a good sign. Like, at least I'm very intrigued, you know? Like, I'm not angry, I'm not pissed off, and I'm not ambivalent. Like, I'm actively intrigued. So, all right, I need to eat my food, and then I'm gonna hop on my reading sprints with my gal pals. So we'll talk later. So I'm going to wrap up this vlog. I'm all ready to film my weekly wrap up. So I'm wrapping this up a day early because I blacked out the bingo board. Let me show you my cute little board. It's funny because I did the dark side, but I used cute little butterflies as my markers. I blacked out this board. I had to make some adjustments, right, for the new adult that I read. But I'm very glad that I did, because it was my favorite read of the weekend. I don't remember which books I talked about in the last clip, but I know this vlog is already really long, so I'll just go over these real quick. I finished Sweetest Sin, which was for my priest prompt. The This was by Sosie Frost. It was okay. I actually have it right in front of me. I can hold it up. This was sent to me by a viewer, and it was perfect timing, right? So I was able to read a priest romance for this. It was okay. Yeah, it was okay. I've definitely read better. I don't quite love the hero's brand of like forgiveness and mercy in here, and kind of like the games he was unintentionally playing with our heroine, who is falling quite deeply for him, and his form of manipulation just wasn't working for me. So this one ended up being 3 stars. Then I read Always Been You by QB Tyler. This was my second book by QB Tyler for the readathon, and I liked this one a lot more. When I was getting my like reviews ready for doing the weekly wrap up, I saw the note that this used to be in an anthology where it was shorter. I mean, this already isn't that long. It's only like 225, but it was novella length previously, and that definitely makes sense for the pace. And this was in like a Christmas anthology before, because it's these adopted siblings. So this was my taboo prompt, and they're like, they live in the same town. So like, he's 13 years older than her. He works in the town that she goes to school in. So she's over at his apartment quite a bit because she goes to visit her older brother. And she's staying with him a couple days before they're going to go home for the holidays together. And they end up finally giving in to feelings they've both been having. So because this was a novella, sorry, my collar's like that originally, it definitely makes sense how quickly they like get together. And there also is like, there's pretty much no angst in this book. For how taboo the relationship is, there's like no angst to be found, because they both right away are like, we're going to be together. It's going to happen. And if our family doesn't agree, well then I guess we won't be with our family anymore. You know, they just really jumped to that. But it works for what it was. And after having read some pretty like frustrating books, I gave this 4 stars, and it was extremely hot, like spicy. There is like, it was great. Like, that was great about it. And then the last one that I needed was a motorcycle romance, and I read Charge by Kate C. Wells. This was on Anyplay, so I listened to the audiobook. Well, I started it while I was doing my nails last night. Did some new nails for the weekend. I really like this one. It's cute. And I would have DNF'd this if I hadn't have been actively doing something where I wanted to have the audiobook going, because in the beginning, the way the hero like talks about the heroine, like her nickname is Peaches, and she's called Peaches because he thinks her ass is a juicy peach. And he says the term barely legal pussy way too many times about this single mother. But because I was busy and I didn't want to stop my audiobook, I kept going. And it won me over for the most part, because he's absolutely wonderful with her son. This was a case of like the heroine was not even date raped. She was roofied at a party, and she woke up assaulted, and she never told anyone until she was 5 months along when she discovered she was pregnant. So her father and stepmother like didn't believe that she was raped. They thought she was hiding it from them. And now she got caught. So they gave her a very hard time during her young years as a mother. And she is now only 21, but she has a 5, almost 6-year-old son, or I think he is 6. And she's doing her very best. And she ends up moving in next to Charge's father, who's called Pops. And he falls for the little boy. Like, him and the little boy just become besties right away. And it was beautiful. I really enjoyed that. So I ended up giving it 3.5 stars. It is not the best that I've ever read, but it won me over a bit in the end, because he was such a great like father figure to Jimmy. And then there is some scenes of him like sticking up for them to her parents that just won me over. Like, it was enough to keep me going. And it was a pretty short book. But I don't know if I'll be continuing the series, because I haven't heard that it gets really any better than this one. And this one was already pretty rough for me, because I was just pretty annoyed with those things off the bat. but there we go. So anyway, the readathon overall, I read 11 books, which I'm really proud of. It felt so good to just power through books, even though I had quite a bumpy road for some of these books. I also had a 6-star book, and so I had a great time. So yeah, thank you again to Teddy Blake for my beautiful bag that they sent me. If you are interested in checking out what they have available, you can see a link down below. Otherwise, just go to Teddy Blake New York, and you can use my code TBR30 for $30 off. And yeah, thank you to my patrons and channel members for supporting me here. And I'll see you in the next video, y'all. Bye.